You want to find an easy way to boost throttle response, low end torque, and increase a little bit of horsepower, most of the time with no tune needed. Keep watching. Okay, everybody, today I'm going to show you how to add the cheapest horsepower to your 5.7 or your 6.4 car. So these are those manifold spacers that I previously did a dyno video about. So we're going to be putting it on a 5.7 car with the 6.4 intake manifold already. So I'm going to show you guys how to go through that process. Probably going to install them without even taking them off, without even taking the manifold off. So that'll be a huge help. Probably save you guys like 15, even 20, maybe even 30 minutes, depending on how long it takes you guys to get the manifolds off. So let's go. You know what, on second thought, I am going to take the manifold off just because we're going to replace the gaskets. So here it comes. On a side note, I'll probably do a review of my mods and everything pretty soon. Really all we're going to need for this is an 8mm socket. We'll need a 10 just because I'm going to unhook the battery for safety, a pick puller. Here's the new hardware for the spacers, and of course the spacers. So let's get to it. All right, so step one, we need to take this out. We're gonna loosen here, loosen here. We're gonna take out the fuel line, and then we're gonna loosen the actual manifold bolts, unclip the fuel injectors, and then we should be able to pull this out. And then I'll show you guys the secret that I use to get the manifold off. Usually there's a brake booster hose that goes in the back. So I've mentioned this before, but if you follow that hose, it's actually this top one here. And you actually disconnect it from the booster instead, and it's actually 10 times easier than trying to get your hand back there to get it out. So let's get to work. All right, now we have the manifold off. So I went ahead and cleaned off the surface a little bit. When you grab your spacers, they are marked. So here it says passenger front. I don't know why it's not focusing. Passenger front. So you just line up your bolt holes. See that it lines up pretty well. Same with driver's side. And then we're gonna put new gaskets on our manifold here. So let's see. I imagine these are pretty muddy. So you can see how these gaskets are starting to flatten a little bit. You can see that it's almost sitting flush there. So it's a good idea that we actually are replacing these gaskets. So it's almost flush here. That one's pretty close to blowing out. You can see how it's kind of distorted a little bit. So getting fresh gaskets on here will be really beneficial. So here's why you want to change your gaskets, because look what we found. Woo! Gotta replace your gaskets. So I already been over this before, but to take these gaskets out, you can just use a pick, and there's a little notch on each gasket, and you can literally just pull all of them out. Super easy. And you also want to make sure that you don't forget the oil fill gasket and the PCV gasket. Look at that one. Woo! So that's what it looked like, and this is what it should look like. And then put these in there. They have little grooves on them, and you literally just, and that's it. So now we have all new gaskets. We're gonna flip this over, and we're gonna have to be pretty meticulous putting this in. We want to set it on top, but we still need to get the booster hose back in. So it's kind of a wiggle game you got to play with these to get one hole to line up. Then you want to get the back hole to line up, and then once you have the back and the front lined up, the middle ones will line up. So let's get to it. One thing you need to make sure you do is you got to remove the bolts. So your old bolts will no longer work.
for these, right? Because they're longer, so you gotta.
Yeah, exactly. So OEM bolt, and then here's that new bolt to account for the extra space on the spacers. And then we're not gonna put our bolts in yet just because it'll be too challenging to install. So we'll line up the holes first and then we'll do them one at a time. All right, so I'm gonna debunk the myth that E85 dirties your fuel injectors. So these injectors have been on E85 for almost 7 months. Where's the gunk buildup on these? I haven't even touched them to clean them yet. And there's proof right there on that O-ring. So the top of the O-ring is just dirt from just everyday use. Bottom of the O-ring is actually what's the good part, what you want. So tell me E85 clogs our Hemi injectors. Somebody show me proof. All right, so here we go. Nice and easy. We're gonna slide it on. You wanna kind of get this back there. I'm just gonna feed it in there. Get all your hoses out of the way. All right. So what we wanna do is you want to get this lined up as much as you can here, and then we're gonna put one screw in the top and then one screw in the back. And then what you can do to help yourself is you can lift to see where your spacer is. Then you can lift them together. Always hand thread for the first couple turns. All right guys, so it's back on. The hardest part is literally getting all of those bolts in, so to save some time I just kind of skipped through it. When you're tightening this down, you want to start from the center and you work your way in a spiral form. That's the torque sequence. These only need like about 12 foot-pounds, if that, maybe even closer to 11. So once you get them all tightened down, you kind of just want to go through in the sequence. Make sure that they're nice and tight. You don't want to apply too much pressure. So start in the middle, then you work your way in a snake form. Oh, last two. Throttle body. I'm actually going to replace that gasket as well. So I got a brand new throttle body gasket, so we have it. We're going to replace it. Same thing, pick puller, pull it out. This one just slides right back in there. Metal screws, aluminum screws going into a plastic manifold, so really want to make sure that your threads are good, they catch, and that you don't over tighten this, because I've been there, it sucks. And boom, throttle body's back on, okay? And then this car has a few connections back here, so you have install this brake booster hose. It's right here. All right, so we're all buttoned back together. We got everything done, even swapped out the thermostat really quick. So we're gonna go ahead and fire it up. Maybe take it for a test drive? Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. All right, so one thing I always do is I always depressurize the fuel system. And I do that by taking out the fuel pump fuse. Obviously I didn't video that because I have it in all my videos, but you always wanna make sure you reinstall that fuel pump fuse. All right, so you want to make sure you reprime the fuel pump. So you can do that by putting into run mode, turning it off, putting into run mode, turning it off. And then go ahead and fire it up once that pressure's back. There it goes. All right, so we're just gonna walk over, make sure we got no leaks. Things running fine, so there's those spacers right there in the middle, that silver piece. All right, so we're going for a test drive. I got the scanner set up, Javi's driving. We got the wideband installed as well, so we can make some wide open throttle changes. First impressions, any? A little smoother, yeah. Just want to see how the torque is. Oh, yeah. Throttle. Yeah. So we're gonna go over to my little spot, to an undisclosed location that will not be named. So we'll check back in when we get there. So give it a little test. It's like off the go. All right, so we just did our second basically baseline pull. So we're gonna do a second gear pull, maybe get a little reaction. Hopefully he's pretty excited, so we'll see. You heard it, but it definitely backfires a little bit when you get off the gas, so always a little plus. So what do you think, worth it? Yeah. All right, quick little mishap. Sensor fell off, but that's why I tape it, so all good, nothing to be worried about. Spacer install, what do you think?
That's pretty cool. Definitely feel it for sure, and it's super easy too. The way you put it on the video, your tips and tricks, it's literally like a 30-minute to an hour job.
What do you think about the throttle, the torque?
Yeah, no, I felt
more
torque.
Responsive.
Yeah, especially in the higher RPMs. Like it just kind of throws me back a little bit.
Oh yeah, it did throw us back.
For sure.
It did throw us back. That second gear pull was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And all of that was really, I haven't changed anything besides feeling, so it's definitely all from the spacers. So
and I'm not even on tires, so
what do you rate it? So about a $300 project, give or take.
Yeah, how much are the spacers? What, like
yeah,
$300?
Yeah, about $300.
Yeah,
and add in the gaskets. So
I mean, I think it's worth it.
There you go. And people are still buying throttle body spacers. Unreal. All right, so there you have it. Quick little install, intake manifold spacers, a little reaction video so you could tell he was happy about it. So thank you for watching.